Hey everybody, welcome to our market outlook for the week starting May 24th, 2021. We're going to go over a few different markets and what we're looking at. I'll show you some assets I'm looking at. We'll go over my whiteboard and the events and what to look for this week. So, let's just start by taking a look at the stock markets here. The NASDAQ last week had that pullback. It bounced right off my trend line. I actually took a couple trades there off that, trading the NASDAQ index. But it looks like it's going up. It did make a higher low there than this one, and it did make another higher low again. And this morning, it's Monday morning as I'm recording this instead of Sunday afternoon, it's already moving up. You can look at the UK 100, the FTSE. It's following a relatively similar pattern. The S&P 500, pretty much the same. We'll take a look at DAX, looks about the same. And interestingly, oil is really following a similar pattern right now. So that's good. It tells us we're in a little bit of a risk-on move right now. I'm not sure that it's a full-on risk-on move. We can take a look at currencies here in a moment. But not everything's moving perfectly smoothly, so let's just take a look. This is the Aussie basket. Contrary to what you would expect to see in a risk-on move, we actually saw the Aussie pull back quite a bit last week. I know these don't look like huge moves. They're not quite the moves we've been getting throughout the pandemic, but it really did break this low here and pull back. I expect a move at the very least back down to either here or perhaps even this area. And I draw lines, but they're really zones. I don't expect it to hit my line perfectly. So Aussie's pulling back just a little bit. It looked pretty weak last week. The Canadian dollar, pretty strong. It's kind of been on a tear, but it is reaching this supply and demand zone. If we take just the last, let's see when this was. Just back to 2017, so about 4 years now, a little over 4 years. It's been rejected at this zone quite a few times, so it'll be interesting to see what the Canadian dollar does here as it enters. But overall, Canadian dollar's been strong. Swiss franc, it's been strong, something you also would not expect to see in a risk-on move. And this is how the markets, if you've been trading for a while, the markets have been like this during the pandemic, a little funky, that we haven't seen the correlations of moves in the stock market and currencies that we sometimes do. The Swiss franc, I think, is interesting because we broke down below this level, this previous low, and then kind of this one up here. And we have some support down here right where it hit. And it's kind of right in that zone. It's right coming back to retest it. I think we may retest it here and get another move back down. I obviously don't know. I will wait for confirmation on that to enter trades, but that's what it's looking like may happen to me. Euro had a kind of strong, but not super strong week last week. Euro's kind of in no man's land. I haven't been doing a ton of trading of the euro unless I can pair it up against something that is moving. And once again, we're kind of just stuck here in between the moving averages. I don't love the price action in the euro. The pound kind of reminds me of the CAD a little bit. We're at a very similar kind of point. We're at a similar kind of high area in this poorly drawn zone that we've been respecting for 3 years now. And the pound's had a good tear there back at the beginning of this year, or in March. But it's kind of fizzling out, so I'm not super bullish or bearish on the pound right now. I will be interested to see what it does once we get up into this zone, if we do. The Japanese yen, which this is a little bit more indicative of a risk-on move, as we're seeing in the stock market, but it is pulling back, has pulled back down to this kind of support resistance or supply and demand zone. I think that it hasn't quite gotten there to the lows. This has been a strong move, so I do expect maybe we'll turn around here and keep going lower. Maybe we'll get some sort of pullback to the 50 period moving average like we did back here in April. But I do expect the yen to eventually actually move lower into this area. And the Kiwi. You can see today's candle is already engulfing so far. The Kiwi was, one that we all, I think, traded a lot during the pandemic. It had some really good movement. But recently it's been a little bit indecisive. So I'm just watching these kind of support and resistance areas, seeing if I can pair it up against something if it fits. But I'm not crazy about the Kiwi. And the dollar, my least favorite currency to trade. We're of course down here at the lows, kind of retesting this or testing this support area. It's been hovering around here and hasn't been able to get much movement off it. We'll see what happens. I do think that the dollar breaks through this, and that leaves us I'll go to the weekly chart. I do think that leaves us a lot of room to the downside. We could move all the way down there. It might take a while, but there's a nice move potentially happening in the dollar. So those are my currency baskets. We're gonna just jump ahead to take a look. Let's look at news events real quick. So here's what I have on my calendar. As you may know, I have a whiteboard where I have all my news events so I can look at it easily. Monday today is a bank holiday in many countries. I think Euro, Swiss bank, Canadian dollar for Memorial Day. The GBP monetary policy report comes out this morning at 9:30 my time, 10:30 Eastern. Nothing really big today. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, the RBNZ meeting is happening. So that's something I'll be watching really carefully to look for some direction on the New Zealand dollar. And the only other thing that I really anticipate impacting markets heavily is the U.S. unemployment data that we'll see on Thursday morning. So a really news light week. It's kind of a relief. We've had a lot of news heavy weeks recently, but those are the kind of three things that I'm watching out for this week. Pretty simple. All right, here's what I'm watching. And of course, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, matthew@mrobertstrading.com, or you can visit mrobertstrading.com to join our free email list. You get a weekly outlook with tons of information. We also have a membership where you can take all the trades that I take. But here's a few things I'm looking at. It's not entirely what I'm looking at, but here's a few things I'm looking at for the week. The Aussie Kiwi. I have been trading the Aussie Kiwi recently a few times. You can see all these little, this is a demo account, but you can see all of my little trades here marked on the chart. I'm actually going to get rid of those. Show positions. Does that get rid of it? Oh well. All right, so the Aussie has been testing this bottom trend line. I'm going to remove this line. It's not really useful to me. This is the Aussie Kiwi daily chart, and it's been testing this trend line since all the way back in December of last year. It came down and tested it. It came down and tested it. It's offered some good entries. Meanwhile, we have this horizontal line here that's really held decently well. It held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So that's a strong supply and demand zone there. And then in the bigger picture, I just have this long kind of line, not to actually necessarily trade off of, but just to recognize that the trend kind of overall is down. It is making lower highs. So what I will be looking for here is it's getting too small here at the end of the triangle for me to really make a lot of profit off this. If I go to the 1 hour, it kind of looks differently. I could make some profit off this. If I get a nice reversal, an engulfing candle, or a doji with a reversal candle, I may try to take it long just to get a little trade. But really what I'm looking for at this point, as the triangle's gotten to the end, is a breakout. I am not particular to which direction we break out, above this line or even above this bigger trend line, but I think it's going to go down because the overall trend has been down. I'm open to whatever happens, but it is something I'm watching. So I will look, if you've watched the break and retest video, then you should recognize this. Why can I not find my brush? I will look for some sort of break, a retest, and then take it on the move down on the Aussie Kiwi. That may not happen, as with all of the setups that I'm watching. You know, sometimes we watch and we wait and it just doesn't form, but that's what I'm hoping for, is I can get a clean break and retest. All right, dollar yen. I'm gonna go to the daily chart. This has been a really steep trend line. It's just crazy. You don't often see trend lines that steep that kind of hold. And it's a rough one, right? It's not fully touching perfectly. But as we can see, the trend here has also been down for a while. I mean, since June of 2015, so 6 years, the dollar yen has kind of trended down. Whoops. So I am expecting a move back down, especially with the dollar being weak. I have a downward dollar bias. So I'll be looking for a similar thing here. I might be able to get a break above this area. There's kind of a resistance forming there. So if we do get a break above that, I'll look for a retest and a move up. But bigger picture, longer term trade, I'm hoping to get a break and retest down. I will not take that initial breakout. I never do. You can see why right here. It broke out and didn't really give me a good clean reversal retest there. So I will wait for the actual retest and to move. All right, euro yen. This one is another really long-term one, but just something I've been watching. There's this, did it again. There is this supply zone right here where price has hit it 1, 2, 3 times. This goes back all the way to 2018. And the euro yen is coming right into it. It already kind of did the doji test and rejection. This is a weekly chart. So I would really hope to see here, much like we saw here, a doji testing it like we did, and then a reversal candle. So far it's not, it's a Monday, so we have time. It's not looking like we're getting that yet, but I will be looking for a pullback back down and take that short. As with the dollar, as with looking at the dollar basket, there's a lot of room to the downside here, right? This is a weekly chart. The last time it touched these lows was all the way back in May of last year, so a year ago. There's a ton of room. If we can get in and let something ride for 6 months, I love those trades. So what we want to do is try to get in at a wise level where it really for sure is reversing. I'll wait until I get some sort of lower highs forming, or the weekly chart at the end of the week if it shows a reversal pattern. And what I'll do is I'll set my stop up here above the zone, and I'll probably set some TPs, a lot of TPs along the way, as this would be a long trade. Maybe one here, maybe one down here, maybe one down here, and so on, with a final TP somewhere down here. Please don't write those down or take my word for it. Once I enter, I will actually do my research and figure out where to set my TPs. But that would be a nice long-term trade that I'm looking at. All right, NZD CAD. The Kiwi CAD is the last one we have. We have a little bit of a demand zone here going. There's tested once, twice, and now a third time. It's testing it like perfectly when you look at the last one. We could be getting some sort of, it kind of looks like a reverse, almost said head and shoulders, cup and handle. But I will be looking for that break higher. When we look at the hourly chart, or I'll go to the 4-hour chart, we can see this trend line here. So that's going to be my reversal indicator for this one. It's already really, it's really at the level I need it to be at where it's tested this. I would like for it to come farther in. I'm hoping to get some sort of move down where it moves in. But I will be looking to go long on this, and I will be looking for a break along that and then a retest. Pretty simple. The daily chart shows this supply zone, The 4-hour chart has this beautiful trend line coming down. So I will look for that to actually be broken, come back and test it, and onward we go. As far as stocks, the only one that I'm really not crazy about, but really waiting for, because I think it could be a beautiful entry, is Home Depot right now. I know that fundamentally there are some problems. Home Depot, a lot of people did a lot of housework or renovations and whatnot during the quarantine. They did them themselves. They worked on their house that they were spending so much time in, and now quarantine's over. So I think that there's some fundamental problems with Home Depot as far as going long on it, but it is something that I'm watching. All right, sorry about that. We lost a bunch of video. Anyways, coming back to Home Depot, I know there's some fundamental problems with it as far as the pandemic goes and people not redoing their houses as much. However, Home Depot hasn't been respecting much, and we do have this beautiful kind of support zone here. I'm hoping that what I can get is a moving average, this 200 period moving average, move through the support zone, and we can get an entry somewhere around here. That nice confluence of indicators of the support zone, the moving average crossing it, and all the moving averages moving in the right direction. Just looking at where I drew that, we can look at the bottom of my screen down here. We're looking mid to end June is what I'm expecting. So that's not this week. So there's really not, it's not a trade I'm looking for this week or anything. Lowe's has a really similar price action as Home Depot. It's nearly the same chart. I will be looking for, Lowe's actually has used this moving average, so I will actually look hopefully for a move off the moving average. Charter's another one that I really like the movement right now. It bounced off this previous high. With the markets kind of being funky, I didn't want to take that. So what I'm going to do is see if we can kind of form a higher low and take it from there. And that's really the next one I'm looking for there. Disney, I think we're probably turning around somewhere around here. We may come back to test the average. But either way, I'm watching this. This has some good movement. We may start getting higher lows and be able to take it long, or we may be able to get a bounce off the moving average and take it long. A lot of these were already in. Comcast, if you're a member, you're already in with me. There's a nice little bounce there. I keep it on my watch list because we might get another bounce off the top, or we might be able to get more entries off this trend channel. Dish had a really nice piece of movement as well. It had this kind of supply and demand zone, and it bounced off it. I really think we could get some good movement in Dish. I actually personally was expecting a move down below it. It's still possible, but just watching to see. General Mills, if you've been trading with me for a while, you know we've taken these trades a couple times. It is kind of up nearing the little previous high here, but I'm just looking for a move off this moving average, or excuse me, this trend line. It's been respecting it since December of 2018. It's a strong one. I'll take any chance I can get on that. And I don't honestly really like any of these other ones I have on here very much. Nvidia, it's just not really moving in a way I can seem to get. Kroger, I just think it's interesting that it's ranging. I might look for some kind of condor or butterfly on this is why I have it in here. I think it's going to mellow out. Nothing good there. I don't even know why that's on my watch list. So that's what I'm looking at as far as assets, really. I'm looking at the Aussie Kiwi. I'm looking at the dollar yen, the euro yen, the Kiwi CAD, and then Home Depot is the big one that I'm waiting for. I will look through and hopefully find more options and whatnot, and that's just where I'm kind of starting the week. So, excuse me, let's do this. Let's go over just real quick. We went over the calendar. let's go over the trades excuse me, that we have open. So let's start over here with Forex. The bold ones are already in TP1. So the dollar Swissy's up 90 pips, the euro odd 55, and the Aussie Swissy up 56. All of those should be in TP1, which means your stop should be at entry. And we took half profit off. And then we have the Aussie CAD, which is down 9 pips last time I checked, and the Kiwi dollar, which was down 77. These two italicized ones, the Aussie Swissy and the Kiwi dollar, are weekly, off the weekly chart, so they may take a little bit of time to mature, just so you have some patience with that. But all in all, we're in an awesome position as far as Forex goes. Your account should be resting with some healthy profit from last week and all the trades we closed, and resting in some unrealized profit at the moment. Stocks were looking pretty good too. I think these numbers are changing as I'm looking at it. Our MasterCard's actually up 690 right now. The NASDAQ US 100's up 1643. 3M is down negative 92. eBay is up 1254 now. And Procter & Gamble is up 620. So those are just priced per share. Obviously, that may not be the exact amount you're up. You also might have gotten a slightly different entry. But that is beautiful. I love to see that. If this is your first video, this is our first video. If you're new to the membership and new to our trade signals, this does not happen every week where we have 5 stock trades and 4 of them are in TP1. It's just beautiful, making some good money there. Options, on the other hand, is looking a little bit rough at the moment, and that's okay. Got this one. I think I didn't put the dates. I think they're all June 18th expiration dates that we have right now. Some vertical spreads, and I think we have a condor or a butterfly in there. We got down 26 per contract on this one, down 7.5, down 60 on the Colgate Palmolive one. I'm hoping that one turns around. It hasn't broken our pattern yet, so nothing to be concerned about. I will send out an update if it breaks the pattern, and we're going to close it. Wells Fargo's up 18. That one's been bouncing though, and it may be lower or higher since I wrote that down. The ICLN, the clean ETF, up $2.50. Twitter up 38. I think that one's going to take a nice bounce. I'm excited about that one. It was a really beautiful entry. And then Comcast at 7.5. Hopefully that will go up a little bit more. So that's that for the trades we have open this week. We went over news events. We went over my whiteboard, just where all the sectors and different currencies are at. And that's it. That's it for the trading week. That's really all we have. If you have any questions, you can email me at matthew@mrobertstrading.com. I legit answer every single email I get. So any question you have about trading, maybe you see a stock or a pair and you want to know what I think, send me an email. Visit my website at mrobertstrading.com for more information and some answers about what I do and how I trade and whatnot. We also have our premium membership, super affordable. I send out every trade I take via email. I don't trade 5-minute charts, so there's not 40 trades a day, or they're not time sensitive. I just send them out at the end of the day. You can follow along and grow your account. And sign up for our free email. The links are all below. The free email has basically what's in this video in written form. All the links are below in the description, my Twitter, my Telegram, my Trading View. And be sure to click the subscribe button and like. And I will see y'all next week.